Hey, what's going, y'all? Well, I'm going to talk to y'all about airships and the idea that they could possibly replace jumbo jets. Now, they won't entirely replace jumbo jets, but partially. I'd say in the short haul, most definitely. Most definitely. And it's just because there are certain cities within certain radiuses where you don't necessarily need a fast jet fuel burning aircraft for that. If you look back at the days of the Graf Zeppelin and the Hindenburg, they averaged about 110, 150 miles an hour. That's not bad for a large airship. So this is very close to high-speed rail type of speed. So keep this in mind about something that large that can travel regionally. This concept of an airship works well in places where high-speed rail just isn't accessible or isn't allowable. You can have an airship that can travel over 100 miles an hour do the same job a high-speed rail can do, and yet it still be mass transit itself. You got to keep in mind, airships like the Hindenburg of that size could go that fast. You know, the bigger they are, the better they can go fast. You know what I'm saying? The bigger they are, the better they can go fast. You know, be more stable, not be so much tossing to and fro due to turbulence. Did y'all know that one of the fastest airplanes in the world, per se, for its size is the Boeing 747? I'll get to that later because I still want to talk about the whole jumbo jet replacement idea. Okay. But regionally, I see airships making a comeback for places that won't allow, or it's just not accessible to have high-speed rail or regional rail per se. And people just want to, duck and dodge traffic. I mean, if you jump on a high-speed airship per se, or an airship that can get up to speed, you'll still be to your next destination. And the fact that it's lighter than air, I mean, we've come a long way with technology. So you don't have to worry about crashing down on an airship like the Hindenburg if one was built again. I mean, look at when the Airlander did its test and it crashed. It was still intact. It was still in one piece. So come on. I mean, come a long way from the days of the Hindenburg. We've come a long way. And some people don't want to hear this, but FYI, it wasn't hydrogen that caused the explosion. It was something that, hydrogen reacted to. That's what caused the explosion. And it was the material that the Hindenburg was made of. Okay, that's already been confirmed. It's known facts. But going back to this idea of the airship replacing jumbo jets in the future, obviously, since I brought up high-speed rail, this gives you an idea that not only airships are an alternative to jumbo jets, but also they are an alternative to high-speed rail, depending on the situation. So, with that said, I mean, there's a lot of potential with future airships, and the idea that airships could actually go even faster. It would have to find a way to be magnetized within an iodized atmosphere, per se. Maybe there's some genius out there that can figure out how to magnetize or iodize a vehicle to where it can float on electromagnetic pulses, because if you look at a lot of steampunk, and even, well, not necessarily steampunk, but cyberpunk, you see a lot of these large floating objects. How is such a large piece of metal able to float like that? Obviously, one has in mind some type of new propulsion or some type of new electrolysis or magnetism in order for this to occur with such a large object. With steampunk, I've noticed that with certain designs of those airships, they just find ways to use propellers. So the idea of helicopters obviously shifting as far as their type of locomotion in the air from rotators. They have the rotating propellers per se. Some people just call them rotors. My bad to the helicopter guys, but y'all know what I mean. A lot of that helicopter technology, a lot of that helicopter technology that will one day be ancient to helicopters can be used on future steampunk type of airships. You just have some large helicopter propellers or large rotors that you design specifically for those type of airships. And there are many designs like that out there for these steampunk type of airships. You know what I'm saying? So, and then there's this idea that, you know, you could literally have a ship be hauled underneath the ballast of a Zeppelin, not a blimp, but a Zeppelin, because people don't understand there are two types of airships. You have your blimps, which are non-rigid airships, and you have your Zeppelins, which are rigid airships. And of course, Zeppelin, it was named after Frederick von Zeppelin, if I'm not mistaken, but he was the one that people coined the term Zeppelin after, because Mr. Zeppelin basically was the one who had a part in inventing a rigid airship. And because of that, you could make them larger and larger.